Maybe we're all just saps. I don't know. Let me know what you think. 0500 92 95 00. Right, to frack or not to frack? That is the question now. This is a controversial system of accessing gas from underground shale rock. That's probably as complex as my explanation is going to get this morning. Advocates say that it could transform Scotland's energy sector and, most importantly for lots of people, drastically reduce their household bills. Critics say it is unproven technology which comes with a high environmental cost. So to try and tell us a little bit more about it, in the no camp we have Gazer Frackman, who is an anti-fracking campaigner. And in the yes camp, we have Murdo Fraser, Tory MSP and convener of the Holyrood, Energy Committee. Good morning, Murdo and Gazer.
Good morning.
Good morning. Murdo, do you see this as a good option for Scotland?
Yes, I certainly do. I think there are 4 reasons it's good for Scotland, and I'll go through them very briefly, if I may. First of all, it's an economic opportunity because PwC in their report yesterday estimated there are £5 billion worth of shale gas reserves in Scotland, and the Institute's director suggested that could create 35,000 jobs. So just as we look for jobs out of renewable energy and oil and gas, we should look for jobs here. Secondly, there's the cost issue you alluded to. In the US, the wholesale cost of energy has fallen by 50% since the exploitation of shale gas. PwC estimates in Europe the cost could fall between 25 and 40%. Now, at a time when businesses are struggling with high energy costs, we've got nearly 40% of households living in fuel poverty. We should be looking to reduce costs if we can. Thirdly, it's good for the environment because in the US there's been a massive saving in carbon. Millions of tons of carbon have been saved in the US as a result of switching from coal to shale gas.
Right,
so we can save carbon. And finally, and let me make the final point, if I may.
Go on.
If we're going to develop renewable energy in Scotland, it's currently being developed largely in the wind energy sector. Now, the problem with wind is intermittent, and therefore you need to have backup to provide the fill-in for the gaps when the wind isn't blowing. And the best way to provide that backup is to build more gas stations. Where is that gas going to come from? At the moment, we are importing gas from Russia. I don't think that makes any sense at all for a long-term energy policy to be importing expensive gas from Russia and potentially be held to ransom by Putin or one of his successors. If we can have cheap domestic gas supplies and security of supply, that makes much more sense.
Okay, well, Murdo, I'm really interested to hear you say that it's good for the environment because in terms of opposition to this, I thought potential environmental damage was one of the key ones. But Gazer can tell us a little bit more about that. Before you do, though, Gazer, just on the point of reducing household bills, Murdo is saying there potentially, we could see our bills go down by 25 to 40%. That is very seductive for a lot of people.
It is. What we're doing, the Tory party and the government are wholly behind this. They'll say anything to get this through. We've had no proof. I'd like Murdo to tell me any proof or anything written down where it's going to bring down household bills. From day one, we've never seen any proof for anything that's been put forward.
Have we not seen that in America, Gazer?
In America, it's completely. In America, it's completely different. Murdo, you've had your bit, right? America, they've already had there's wide open space in America. But in line with all the fracking that's gone on in America, there's also an environmental impact. People's lives are being devastated. Farms are being devastated.
In what way, Gazer? In what way are they being devastated?
Well, the aquifers have been contaminated. What's happening is there's a big push on PR to suppress the truth and the facts. Now, you said before I'm an anti-fracker. No, what we are really is a campaign group, and we're going out for the truth. And what they're trying to do is suppress the truth and come out with these things about, it's going to bring jobs into the area, it's going to bring bills down, it's going to bring wealth to the area. Can I just ask one question, Murdo? Right?
Carry on, yeah.
Yeah. Very simple question. Cameron Lindsay Whitney has got shale gas and coal bed methane. Clegg has got it in Sheffield, and Osborne has got it in Tatton. Are they frack-free zones? If it's bringing wealth, if it's bringing jobs into the area, why is it not there? They should be looking after their own constituents before they put themselves. What they're doing, they're blighting the rest of the country. Do you live anywhere near any of the rigs? that's going to be proposed.
Well, I can tell you, letting get a word in edgeways. Well, you just asked me a question.
Hang on. Go on, Murdo. Answer, please.
Yeah. Okay. You just asked me a question. Perhaps you let me answer it. You're asking me, do I live near the rigs? There is within my own Mid-Scotland, the Fife constituency, already exploitation of coal bed methane. Dart Energy around Falkirk, which is just outside the boundaries of my constituency, are already doing drilling there for coal bed methane extraction. It's already happening in Scotland. I have no difficulty with seeing it carried out in other parts of Scotland. Indeed, if people want to do it near where I live, I'm entirely relaxed about that prospect. And I think there's an awful lot of scaremongering, also an awful lot of misinformation being spread around from your contributor. And it's not me saying this. I don't know if you read the PricewaterhouseCoopers report.
I don't know if you've read the yesterday report.
Well, hang on. Sorry, excuse me, Murdo, if you don't mind. I mean, Gator, you clearly think there's a political agenda here, and we can hear that. But, I mean, can I just ask you what is your fundamental objection to this? Because when I asked Murdo what his reasons for supporting it were, he gave me 4 very clear reasons. He said, we've got lots of reserves. It could bring our energy bills down by between 25 to 40%. He says it's good for the environment because it reduces carbon emissions. And you gave me a 4th reason, which is, of course, renewables. You think it will be a support to renewables. So 4 very solid reasons in support. What's not to like, Gazer? What's your fundamental objection?
Well, can I first of all say that he's already a politician, so he knows what to say and how to do the spin. Well, I'm a resident that's actually come up against it. I've got a rig. My house was damaged. That's why I'm on board in the first place. So first of all, my house was damaged by the earthquakes. It's not been mentioned.
Okay.
Secondly, I've looked into this. We've got Quadrilla in the area, and they've actually caused the earthquake, and that well is now damaged. So that's one damage as well. Damage that's damaged. Secondly, they've drilled another well, which the cement won't set. Okay, so they've got to re-drill the hole and they're going for another permit. So that's a 100% failure rate. Mm-hmm. Now, the statistics from Schlumberger, which is their own company, it's their own statistics, 6% of these wells will fail on completion, 30% over 10 years. Now, you tell me any industry, and again, they'll suppress it, you tell me any industry that can go ahead with those sort of statistics and those sort of failure rates.
Okay, well, Murdo, let me come back to you then, because from a starting point of 4, what would appear to be very strong reasons in support, Gazer's now raising the potential of earthquakes, which is going to make people swing right to the other side. How confident are you that this is an absolutely safe technology, and not only safe, but Gazer seems to be suggesting it's not that reliable either?
Okay, well, first of all, we need to appreciate that all types of energy exploitation come at an environmental risk, whether it's removing oil from the North Sea, whether it's nuclear power, whether it's building wind turbines on peatlands and potentially disrupting the ecology of wild land. So there's always an environmental risk to whatever type of energy we produce. In relation to earthquakes, there were 2 very minor earth tremors in the Blackpool area.
It damaged my house 10 miles away.
Well, these were undetectable to humans, according to the British Geological Survey. There were extensive.
Hang on,
I didn't interrupt you, so please don't interrupt me, okay? Now, according to 2 extensive studies carried out by the Institute of Engineers and the Royal Academy, these risks were minimal, and there was no substantial risk to humans as a result of this. So I don't think we should overstate this problem about earthquakes. Now, of course, if you're injecting water at high pressure deep into the ground, and there's a chemical element to that, these things need to be very strictly regulated. And if we are going to have shale gas and coal bed methane exploitation in the UK, we need to have the highest standards of environmental protection. I've already been in dialogue with the Scottish Environment Protection Agency in relation to this, following concerns raised with me by constituents. They have assured me that they are well aware of the risks and will regulate this industry very, very closely.
Okay, Murdo, thanks. Listen, Gator, I'm keen to get people's reactions to the conversation between you. I just want to ask you a question. It's just to try and give people a picture, because this is a relatively new subject that we're discussing here, and a lot of people will still be thinking, fracking, what on earth are they going on about? If we were to move forward with this, which is basically extracting shale gas from underneath the Earth's surface, what are your fears? Let's say the government declares tomorrow, the Scottish Government or the Westminster Government, we're going full scale ahead into this. What are your fears?
We will not meet our carbon targets, that's for one. Number two is it's going to take over 2/3 of this country. It will turn into a third world country without a shadow of a doubt. It does contaminate aquifers. All the evidence out there. All people need to do is read the Tyndall report. The co-op financed it, and all the data from New York. All the people that are harmed just recently have been into New York. There's over 100 people saying how their lives have been devastated. All people need to do is go on the internet and type in fracking. They'll understand what the damage is. And I need to just make one point before we go any further. When you've talked about regulation, the HSE have never visited the pre-salt site and checked the well or the well cement or the well casing. The Royal Society, was just mentioned, never visited the site. They just went through papers. So there is no regulation, and people are not regulated. The HSE have not been to the two sites. Okay. So when we talk about regulation, there is little to no regulation. That's our biggest thing. It should not go forward.
All right, Gazer. Now, listen, we are going to move on. We're going to have to move on from this. And as I say, I'm keen to get people's reaction. Murdo, can I ask you just a final question, which is just to tell us, where are we with this? I mean, in terms of where are Scottish MSPs on this?
Well, where we are with this at the moment is there is some limited coal bed methane extraction already happening in Scotland. The Scottish Government are already looking at licensing some further exploration work, both around the Central Belt and in Dumfries and Galloway. I think amongst MSPs generally there is a growing awareness of the issue. And I also think there is an understanding that if we are to meet Scotland's future energy needs and we're going to build a future based on renewable energy, we are going to have more gas to provide the backup. And it's surely better to provide that gas domestically than to import it at high cost from Russia. Okay,
well, thank you. I suspect this is not the last that we have heard of fracking. That's Murdo Fraser, Tory MSP, convener of the Holyrood Energy Committee, and Gazer Frackman anti-fracking campaign. I do know the difference, folks. I honestly do, but I've just got that thing in my head now that when I see the word Holyrood, I have a little glitch that goes gzz. So I apologise for doing that.